We are live. I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. Hopefully, everybody's having um, a very good morning. You see the title of this video. I want to first give a big shout out to Teofimo Lopez and his dad, um, Teofimo Lopez Sr., they call Junior, for an excellent fight, excellent game plan, excellent performance. Now, the new, undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Teofimo Lopez, he got a messed up franchise championship belt. And Teofimo Lopez said very categorically that he's willing to face Devin Haney and get that WBC title that Devin Haney has to legitimize his undisputed status. I want to say that 100%, if he can do it, that he should. I said, if he can do it. There are other goals and objectives he might be able to do at a higher weight class, like 140, where he can be more comfortable at the making weight. So only for that particular reason. But if he wants to make a statement and face Devin Haney to show, listen, this franchise belt thing, I'm going to consolidate those belts to make sure if I'm the franchise champion, I'm a legitimate franchise champion. I'm the champion. And if they say this guy over here is the champion, I'm going to face him. That's some Floyd Mayweather stuff. Because Teofimo Lopez, for those of you who don't realize, is definitely following in the footsteps of Floyd Mayweather. And if y'all don't realize that, but he's not Floyd Mayweather. He's got a different style. Okay? And but I don't want to compare him to Floyd Mayweather because he's Teofimo Lopez. Floyd Mayweather's Floyd Mayweather. I don't really care to compare him to Floyd Mayweather. Okay? The thing about it is, this cat has shown up. A lot of you out there who were saying he wasn't ready for this level. Not only did he prove he was ready, but he also proved he could outbox Vasily Lomachenko. Kind of did what Errol Spence did to Mikey Garcia. Kind of did what he proved a bigger point. And for the casual fans out there that wanted to see him knock out Vasily Lomachenko, and I myself thought he was going to knock him out. Lomachenko fought a different kind of fight because he didn't want to get knocked out. And he also fought a smart fight. I'm not gonna try to diminish Lomachenko's his status and also his IQ and also his achievements. I'm not gonna try and diminish that at all. Vasily Lomachenko is a phenomenal fighter. He's accomplished phenomenal things. Okay, but this is a different era. This is a new era. And Teofimo Lopez has ushered it in of exceptional fighters. He is a superstar. He has done it. He has brought that superstar status. He must not. I was watching his post-fight interviews, and he seemed to be a little bit depressed, a little bit put down because he beat Bob Arum's, Bob Arum's guy, as they say. Everybody was touting this guy, building this guy up. And that guy got beaten by Teofimo Lopez. Comprehensive. Okay. And we all know that what happened with Nonito Donaire and Nicholas Walters. We all know what happened with Nonito Donaire and Guillermo Reagan now. You can get blacklisted for being excellent. But I don't think that's going to happen with Teofimo Lopez. But if it does happen with Teofimo Lopez, we the fans are not going to accept it. Because Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Javante Davis, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, these are guys you're not just going to push around. When they call on us, the fans, to speak, we will speak for these promotional companies. And they may have issues with these guys. Ryan Garcia is not going to take nothing. He's not going to be messed around with in Golden Boy. Canelo Alvarez is standing up to Golden Boy. Shakur Stevenson's got good people around him, but if Top Rank try to mess around with Shakur Stevenson's not going to take it either. Got good people surrounding him. But I know how media works. Right now, I watch on the internet, and by the way, I am what you need. You're watching my channel. And I want you guys, if you feel the need to come on here and talk with me, I'm not going to trash talk y'all. I'm not going to, push the wind in your face if you got it wrong, because that's part of boxing. We get things wrong. All right. The best guys who try to predict fights don't get it. But the one thing I'm going to tell you guys is, right or wrong, you must have good, solid reasons for your argument coming from a boxing perspective. And of course, Teofimo Lopez did what I expected him to do. What I said, the only thing he did not do, which I thought he would do, was knock out, because I predicted a knockout in the 5th round of Vasily Lomachenko. But then Lomachenko didn't do exactly what I expected him to do either, because he realized the danger in going into the pocket straight down the center, which is what Teofimo Lopez basically forced him to do by taking away weak side attack that I told you Lomachenko was really good at doing. His father, Junior, spoke about the pyramid defense that they were utilizing, something called a pyramid defense, right? Where footwork and also angles at which Teofimo Lopez was coming in off the jab, and also a sharp jab, by the way, and also off of the right hand, which was a big factor in this fight. The right hand was a big factor in this fight. The jab was a big factor early on in the fight. Of course, the left hook was in there. And also that body work, was the sustained body attack, was incredible. And nobody had ever seen anybody do that except for Orlando Salido had done that kind of body work on Vasily Lomachenko. Orlando Salido. If you guys remember, see, that's the guy that everybody tries to overshoot. And they say he's a dirty fighter. And, but there are things from the Orlando Salido fight I saw in this fight. Not everything, because there's a lot of things that wasn't present in Orlando. You can see Teofimo Lopez is a different fighter altogether. But there were things from the Orlando Salido fight that were in this fight. And the implementation, most importantly, the implementation and execution of those things by Teofimo Lopez, respecting distance, keeping Lomachenko outside, fighting from range. This was beautiful stuff. And it was established by the jab. It was also established by the lead right hand. Of course, if Lomachenko came too close on the inside, I'm trying to pivot around to weak side. Teofimo Lopez had that uppercut, which he could pivot off the uppercut and throw it. Lomachenko had to go through heat. He had to go through heat to get to Teofimo Lopez. If he was going to come inside, as they say, Teofimo Lopez will make you pay. Whether you hit him or you don't hit him, he's going to make you pay. And he was sharp. Teofimo Lopez was sharp. He was sharp. He was sharp. I can't emphasize how much sharpness he had. So if you guys want to join this, because this is really for you guys to talk and for me to listen. This one is going to be for you guys, the fans. And what you want to say about this fight. I can't stay too long. I got about 10 more minutes or 20 more minutes. I got a very busy day today. But this is for you guys, the fans, particularly, because I'm a fan myself, even though I do a little bit of boxing. I'm a fan myself, and I want to hear your take on it. I told people that Teofimo Lopez would shock them. I told them he was going to win this thing, and he took it. And I really wanted to emphasize on the new era that's just been ushered in and the significance, the very huge significance of this win for these youngins. Because what it shows is that these guys are on a different level to even the established guys of the time. And Lopez is on a different level. Of course, Lopez versus Lomachenko. Lomachenko was competitive. That's why Lopez didn't get him out of there. But it was basically a dominant whitewash. It was a whitewash. And when I say whitewash, okay, so some of you will say 7 rounds to 5. Some of you will say 8 to 4. But Lomachenko the fight was over by the 7th round, if we're being honest with ourselves. It was over by the 6th round. It was a drawn fight by the 6th round. Everybody universally, I don't care if you're a Loma fan or you are a Teofimo Lopez fan. At this point in time, y'all knew he basically wiped him clean for the first 6, right? Now, I had it 9-3. I did not give Lomachenko the 8th round. I did give him the 9th, even though Teofimo Lopez was still responding and landing in me, for my opinion, the more telling shots to the body. Okay, Lomachenko was having his little flurries to the head, but the body shots were being done by Teofimo Lopez. I gave Lomachenko round 9. I gave him round 10. Okay, I gave him round 9, 10, and 11. He definitely did great work in the 11th round. That was definitely a Lomachenko round. Teofimo Lopez did come back hard at the end of the 11th, but I gave Lomachenko the 11th round. He did not win the 12th, obviously not. Teofimo Lopez went back to the jab. He also was sharper. You could see that he was kind of biding his time, trying to get Lomachenko to engage him more. And then he just he shut the clamp down. You know, the referee stopped the fight because, again, Lomachenko was using his head a lot to try and butt Teofimo Lopez. He was trying every single little tactic he knew, but he knew there was heat coming at him, and it was some serious heat was coming at him. But he was well conditioned. He was in good shape to take that heat, but he couldn't take that heat one after the other. And sometimes it came, you know, that right hand to the body, left hook to the head. You know, that shit, you can't take that over and over. So he had to reset. And when he's resetting, what did Teofimo Lopez do? He followed him. He followed him while he was resetting, right? We saw he didn't give him no space. He followed him while he was resetting as he was going back to the ropes, and he kept him on the back foot. And through the form, like Teofimo Lopez said, and his dad, he can't fight off the back foot. He's got to be defensive or offensive. He can do his offensive thing as Ukrainians and Eastern European fighters, as I explained, like Derevyanchenko, like Alexander Usyk. These guys, they're very good at fighting in mid-range and pivoting right or left and working around you. They're guys that are around you, but you take that away from them. They ain't got nothing. And Teofimo Lopez knew that, and he knew it was an easy fight from a long time ago. He and his dad was like, and he did it in a variety more than Floyd Mayweather did. I'm gonna explain to you what I mean. Floyd, when he was dealing with Manny Pacquiao, Floyd was pivoting, as I suggested, and what Teofimo Lopez did do in the fight, he was pivoting in an anti-clockwise manner to take away the weak side attack. But you don't only have to do that. What you really have to do is respect distance, so that if he's coming in, right, if he takes 2 steps forward, you take 2 steps back. You know, as he realizes there's nothing, you take 2 steps forward, and you can get the lead foot position on him and smack him with the right hand, which was Teofimo Lopez was doing. It wasn't just his quick reaction time, it was his IQ. He showed that he could outplay the chess player. Lomachenko thought he was going to get a chess match, and he did, and he lost. He lost it bad. This is the new breed, ladies and gentlemen. The new breed. But let me let you guys in. Let me put the link into the description for you guys so you can hop on here and say your piece. I'm not going to say too much more about this fight because everything I said pre-fight I already said. So I don't really say much. I don't even have to tell y'all nothing. Y'all know what it is. Y'all can go but watch back my videos if you want talking about this. I always thought the writing was on the wall with Lomachenko, but I think a lot of people just didn't see it. Was Lomachenko in excellent shape? Absolutely. people are going to make excuses about he was too old, or the judge's decision was too wide. 119 to 109 sounds wide by Julie Lederman, but I can see how she got that. If you really think about it, what was Lomachenko's signature round? Round 11. That was his signature round. That's where he did his best work. And if you listen to the announcers, even Chris Algieri, if you will listen to Chris Algieri, or you listen to Tessitore and Tim Bradley, Andrew Ward, it depends on who you were listening to. You would hear that they say, oh, that he definitely won that round. And the only round they really said that for was round 11. 10 and 9 was a lot of trading. There was a lot of training. Teofimo Lopez answered Lomachenko throughout those rounds. Lomachenko did hurt him to the body once. I saw when Teo got hurt to the body. Good body shot by Lomachenko. It was a liver shot. Teo sucked it up, and he kept on fighting. And I think it was in round 10. You know what I mean? Sergey Sokolov, what the F just happened? Loma lost. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I told you Teo was going to shock y'all. A lot of people took, and I said it in the groups, but I'm going to let you talk, Sergey Sokolov, if you want to come on here and talk. Let me put the link in the chat section. I'm coughing a little bit because I still got some reflux going on here. And I only got reflux because of my fault. I let myself dry out too much, and it clamped up, and so I'm kind of constipated a bit. Not really constipated right now, but I still am constipated a bit. I have a lot of gas inside of me, so the reflux is kind of bringing the water up, and it's kind of choking me a little bit. But I'm gonna do okay. I just need to stop certain practices as well that are not healthy for anyone. But yeah, Sergey Sokolov, what's up, my dude? I'm gonna get you on here. If I can get you up on here right now, let me just click this description right here. I don't have much time though, unfortunately. I don't have much more time with you guys. I gotta go and handle my day. But let's talk a little bit about these new breed of fighters, man. Because if people don't know what's up, what's coming is a storm, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful storm. In short, man, Teofimo Lopez outboxed Vasily Lomachenko. That's what you saw. You saw a boxing clinic. Everybody was saying Lomachenko would school Teofimo Lopez, and the reverse happened. Of course, Lomachenko had to respect that power. And again, Lomachenko, I try to explain to people. People always say Lomachenko's he can fight on the outside, he can fight on the inside. No, he fights at mid-range. You take that game away from him, and he had to sell out. He sold out. He started, well, he didn't quite sell out because he still used his defense. But he had to, I told you, he was going to have to fight Teofimo Lopez to get on the inside. He had to take punches to land punches, you know what I mean? And that's what he did. He sold out for from round, I think he changed up his game mode, and he really started putting the heat on him in round 9, 10, 11. He was really trying. And everybody was focused on Lomachenko, so that, they wasn't watching what T was doing to a certain degree. T was landing some nasty body shots, every time he come in the inside, whoosh, to the body. Yeah, he catch him with the little shots on the head and bopped Teofimo Lopez's head up, but he protected his body pretty well. And, the shell caught some of those shots, but he was getting tagged up to the head at moments when Lomachenko would get to the inside. Lomachenko had to, he had to knuckle it up, just like what he did with Luke Campbell, and get to the inside. But Teofimo Lopez wasn't really giving him that real estate. He was protecting that real estate. He was guarding that real estate. And that's what y'all saw. It was a tactical fight. And, and Lomachenko wasn't playing to the knockout game. You need to have a dancing partner to set up a knockout. And Lomachenko was smart enough to understand, I ain't going in that pocket just like that, So he was working on, you could see Lomachenko change head spots, and he was working on trying to pivot to the right and not get caught with that right uppercut that Teofimo Lopez would just come with you, he just light it up, pow, sharp, He gets so much hype and win. Lomachenko is what you think he is. He's the real deal, Now, have they overhyped him a bit? ESPN has overhyped him, and that's the sad thing about it, because now that he's lost, everybody's going to just like smack him. But no, he is a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, just based off what he's done. His career is not over yet. We have to see what will happen with him at super featherweight. He's going to go down to 130, as he said he was going to do. And maybe he bounces up some really good fights with Gervonta Davis. Let me tell you something about Lomachenko. You see his cardio, man. His cardio is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He got ridiculous cardio. Teo still had to take some time out, reset himself, change the game plan a little bit to get Loma, to bait Loma in. But Teo himself got, you could see he wasn't as sharp at a certain point in time. And Loma was hitting him some vicious, when he did get a body shot in, it was a vicious body shot. You can see Loma commits to the body shots. And, but like I said before, Sergey Kovalev thinks Loma is the new McGregor. No, he's not. No, he's not. Dude, no. It's just that what you're looking at is a new breed of fighter. Think of Mayweather and Pacquiao. You know what we got now? We got a whole set of more advanced guys than Mayweather or Pacquiao, because they understand the fundamentals of boxing. This is the new breed. Boxing as a sport evolves. Why Lomachenko's of the old school. Lomachenko's old school. He's the past. And as my boy Coach Calvin Ford said, Lomachenko did not face any young gun stunners. And Teofimo Lopez is a young gun stunner. He been in the amateurs with other young gun stunners. He fought other young gun stunners. Like Jerome Ennis is a young gun stunner. And there are more coming up. There are more young guns coming up. Right? Malik Hackett is another one. You got to watch for these kids. These kids, they no joke. They lived a life. They lived a life. Back in the day, the old school guys used to drink and smoke and come off weight and balloon up and balloon down, or they just fight fights and that. No, these guys today, it's not just intuition. It's not just instincts. It's science. And these young cats was able to watch all the greats, from Mayweather all the way back to the great John L. Sullivan. Well, I don't think there's no footage on him, but I'm just saying. And these cats today, they's different. Even their fathers, you see a lot of fathers involved. They got knowledge base. They've been around the guys in the sport today, and then they find out information, because all of these fathers, you think they just came up with this stuff in their own minds? You think they just did this thing on their own? No, they got support. Why do you think that Junior brought in Joey Ganache? You got to understand the generations of wealth of information with Joey Ganache. You think Junior go to all these different gyms with his son and have him sparring all these modern day gladiators, these modern day titans. It's the experience the son is getting. And Teofimo Lopez said he learned things in that ring with Lomachenko. And he picked up what that veteran had. See, that's the thing that a lot of people just don't understand. When you think Joe Smith Jr., I'm gonna go with something that most people wouldn't go with, but I'm gonna go with it. Joe Smith Jr. fighting Bernard Hopkins was a privilege for Joe Smith Jr. because he learned a lot facing that old man in the ring. Of course, Bernard was old, but that's irregardless. Whether Bernard was old or not, he got so much experience facing Bernard Hopkins, chopping down that tree. But you see, a lot of people don't understand different eras, right? I'm talking too much. I need to stop this conversation and spend more time doing other things. But shout out to each and every one of you guys watching this video right now. Let me get you guys to hop on. You say your piece, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about how we as boxing fans could get to understand the sport more, because we're not gonna get everything right, obvious, right? We're not gods. A lot of people try to put me in that context for some reason, but I'm just a real boxing fan. What I mean by that is I'm real with you. I'm never going to bullshit you. I'm going to come from the perspective of boxing. And y'all going to understand that. That's all you need to understand. I'm a fan just like you guys, okay? I ain't here to slap nobody or put anybody down. Hell no. Hell no. but I want you to understand the game. And that's why I kept on giving y'all game all the time. I kept on giving y'all game as this fight was proceeding. You know, I'm just like y'all. I don't really know what was really going to happen. I don't really know, but I'm giving y'all game. I'm giving y'all information. I'm giving y'all things to let you process in your head what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So that when you watch the fight, you understand what the possibility of this kid is and what the possibility of this great fighter is of modern day time. You understand? And you put those two together. Okay? Lomachenko isn't any less of a fighter because he lost to Teofimo Lopez. No, Teofimo Lopez is that great of a fighter. And these young, come on, man, we see it today. We see these young kids and what they do. Kids today, they learning to play the violin in a month, and they playing Paganini in a month. This new breed, this new generation of kids is in another level to us, man. So how is it you can't see that these modern day fighters who've seen Floyd Mayweather, who've seen Manny Pacquiao, who've seen Oscar De La Hoya, who've seen Pernell Whitaker, they absorb information at a faster rate than we could ever process it because they exposed to it from the day they born. And now they got them in boxing at the age of 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Some of them they just came out the cradle and they doing boxing. So obviously, the newer generations are going to, and it's always been that way. A lot of times people feel, you know, it's because the guy's young that he beat the older fighter. But clearly in this particular fight we saw, the younger fighter outboxed the older fighter, who we claim have a lot more experience than the younger fighter and had a greater amateur background. But here's my thing. What a lot of you guys miss is in the amateurs, the young gun stunners was facing other young gun stunners. That's what you forgot. Whereas the older fighter who had been with a lot of experience wasn't facing young gun stunners, because every era you got different fighters. And so you're going to lose some and you're going to win some against young gun stunners. Right? So what a lot of people don't get and they don't grasp, and this is why I talk about eras, and this is why I talk about how boxing is improving. It's not getting worse, it's getting better, is that a lot of people don't understand this thing. They don't understand that there's knowledge and more knowledge available. And that's the thing that people don't get. People don't do road work no more. They don't do road, but road work is not necessary. You want to do road work, you can go ahead. That's old school stuff. They have more specific training exercises for boxing. And this is the thing, that the knowledge has changed and increased. And it's more of a sport now than it is a blood sport. It's not as primitive as it used to be. It's very high scale. These young gun stunners. You saw the difference between a Teofimo Lopez and a Jorge Linares. You saw the difference, right? Jorge Linares is not on the level of a Teofimo Lopez. He's just not. He never was, right? You saw the difference in the levels between Jose Pedraza and a Teofimo Lopez. Pedraza is nowhere on the level of a Teofimo Lopez. So when I say that Ryan Garcia is going to dust, Luke Campbell, this shouldn't be surprising to you, because Ryan Garcia comes from Teofimo Lopez's era of fighters, right? And he's the creme de la creme of his era of fighters. That's why he got such a huge fan base. That's why it's not just a big hoopla because this guy is just hype or nothing else. It's hoopla because this kid really is the goods. But you guys don't know him from the amateurs. That's why I said go look at these guys in the amateurs. Sir He German says Loma lost because he was going through distractions due to coronavirus pandemic. Well, from what I saw in the ring, I'm gonna be straight with you. He lost because he lost every round, almost every round, because Teofimo Lopez was just sharper than him and outboxing him. and he was bigger than him as well. But that almost was irrelevant to the fact that the strategy that Teofimo Lopez and his team had was just superior to anything that Lomachenko could do. And I told you, when you restrict the options, as skilled as the fighter is, as much IQ as he has, when you restrict the options on a fighter who fights mostly at a specific range, once you take that away from him and you limit his options, he has to now fight you. And that's what Lomachenko ended up doing. He had to fight Teofimo Lopez. Okay? And he's disappointed that he lost, but he'll get over it because he's a hell of a fighter, and he knew going into this fight where he was going, the obstacles and the challenges that he had with Teofimo Lopez. That's why he was behaving out of character. And it's nothing. I'm not mad at him. Like I said before, it's boxing. It's a sport. You're gonna win some, lose some. He was matched tough, and this was a tough challenge. And he stepped up to the plate. He lost. I give him credit for stepping up to the plate. You know what I mean? But there's levels to boxing, and he's just not on Teofimo Lopez level. He's just not. And for those of you who feel hard about it, don't feel hard about it. That's boxing. All right? That's boxing. A new era had to happen. So let me put the link into the description, into the chat section so you guys can, I didn't put it down. Let me put it into the chat section so that you guys can come on here and say your piece. So wish. Yeah, but I would say this to anyone out there right now. We are looking at a very exciting time because them cats that have to meet up with each other, Devin Haney's, you even hear Teofimo Lopez trash talking Devin Haney with the email, the email championship belt. And he also offered to face Devin Haney. So we're looking at a totally different era now. We're looking at the Haney's, we're looking at the Josh Taylors, we're looking at Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, of course, fought Lomachenko in the amateurs, right? He lost, but he fought him in the amateurs. Lomachenko beat Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is going to be facing Josh Taylor. That's going to be a tough fight for Jose Ramirez. I got Josh Taylor winning that fight. I think that Josh Taylor does too many good things for Jose Ramirez to beat him, but Ramirez, if he just relying on his power and trying to get the right angle to get on the inside, he's gonna have a hard time. And Josh Taylor really can fight on the inside as well as on the outside, so that's gonna be a tough fight for Jose Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? So, but even Taylor and Ramirez are a little bit older fighters. Even though Taylor's a hell of a fighter too. Taylor's a bad boy. He's a very bad boy. But we'll see what Ramirez can bring to the table. Maybe he brings something that proves me wrong. I don't know. We got to see that fight to really let you know what's happening. You know what I mean? But I said enough. I said my piece. It's up to you guys now to talk. And people in the chat section. And so let me just put this link up in here. I can't stay too long though, guys. So I want to give you your chance to talk. To give you a chance to say your piece, your opinion. I may agree or disagree with you, but I'm going to let you, again, express yourself. This is a place where what you need is what we want to provide for you, okay? So if you want to join the show, just hop on as provided. All right. Now I don't have any what do we call them? I don't have any moderators for my channel because I prefer to just let you guys talk as you see fit. But hop on, man. Let's chop it up. I'm 34 minutes in though. 34 minutes in. I'll give you guys breakdown of the fight. The ghost of Orlando Salido was showed up in the fight, Sergey German says Loma lost because he was going through distractions due to coronavirus pandemic. Hey, Teofimo Lopez was going through the same thing, so they were basically on an even playing field. So, I mean, what can you do? I mean, that's just the way how life goes. You know, you can be a winner or you can be a loser. Let me just put this up there so you guys can see. So if you guys want to hop in on the chat, here is the link. The link is in the chat section. Hop in, say a piece. I'm going to keep quiet while you guys talking. When you finish talking, I'm going to say my piece on whatever you want to say. Now, I know a lot of people pick Lomachenko to win. Those of you who bet money on Teofimo Lopez, you just made. I heard one guy, he put $750,000. Teofimo Lopez just won $2.5 million on Teofimo Lopez. So he made a big rake. And all those of you who put money on Teofimo Lopez to win, I hope you made your money, baby. I hope you made your money. You know what I'm saying? I want to say a couple more things about this 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 fight. Let me first. I gotta remove this. Okay, well, you can't see my face right now. I'm gonna just move back a little bit. So, you know, a lot of you guys went on experience. I understand. I tried to explain to you guys that experience is not everything in boxing. You know, but it wasn't really as much experience as you thought because it wasn't the 15 fights, or it's not that Lopez didn't have the experience. If you look at how Lopez won against most of his opponents who he faced in meeting up with Lomachenko, you would see that he was levels way above those guys by the way how he dispatched them and dominated them. So that should have been an indicator that he just didn't get the opportunities that Lomachenko got to face as many world champions or former world champions that Lomachenko did face, because he was matched harder because obviously he was a two-time gold medalist, so they would give him what he wanted, and he wanted to get in there and start doing it immediately. Why this fight might have hurt Lomachenko, why he did not really stay for interviews or anything, he just walked away, was because he realized that IQ for IQ, match for match, the game plan for game plan, his game plan couldn't work against Teofimo Lopez. And so I think this one will hurt him more than the Orlando Salido fight, which was for some people was a closer fight. I think this will hurt him a little bit more because it was thought that he was the better fighter, but he's excellent at fighting at mid range, and he uses certain devices to get to the pocket. So when Lopez took that away from him, he really had to now fight his way in and then get his stuff going. And that's why in that fight, it might hurt him a bit because the game plan didn't work, the strategy didn't work, and then his skills, he came up short. He was limited in his skills and how to face Lopez. Teofimo. Teofimo showed he was superior in every single kind of way, skill wise, and then strategy wise. He seemed to have a better game plan. So because of that, I think Lomachenko was, when you're badly hurt like that, when you're beaten mentally and physically, it really does have a toll on you somewhat. Now that's the same thing happened with Pacquiao with Mayweather, where Mayweather comprehensively beat him. And I remember Teofimo Lopez said, if you think, you guys comparing, Lomachenko, to Mayweather, but if there's anybody who's Mayweather, it's me. I'm Mayweather in this fight. And and Lomachenko's Canelo. It came out to be that way. Now, I want to say I could see why a lot of you guys, a lot of people out there pick Lomachenko, right? But like I said before, while he did have more championship experience because he faced more world champions, Teofimo Lopez showed that he had um, the experience to deal with Lomachenko. And I kind of figured that out. I was on the fence with Teofimo Lopez until the Richard Comey fight. I was on the fence with him. And then I saw what he was doing against, when I looked at what he was doing against, what's that kid's name? Diego Magdaleno. When I saw what he was doing to Diego Magdaleno, I said, this kid knows stuff, because he was circling a certain way against the southpaw. He wasn't circling. In other words, when he was circling Diego Magdaleno, usually when you deal with a southpaw, what you want to do is stay away from the power hand. So you circle clockwise to be on the outside of southpaw's lead foot. Teofimo Lopez was circling Lomachenko different ways, but maintaining distance. But he added so many wrinkles to his game. He was circling him anti-clockwise, the opposite way, which is what like a Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, and other kinds of advanced fighters would do. And that's also what Orlando Salido did. That's why Orlando Salido wasn't prey to a lot of the weak side attacks that Lomachenko usually get his opponents with. And I said to you guys, let's see if Lomachenko's really improved from the Salido fight, right? Or his Hercules heel is that he can't get, if he can't get to mid-range, he's gotta go straight down the center, which means he's gonna have to fight. And what ended up happening in this fight was Lomachenko still couldn't get access to weak side like he wanted to, and he had to fight Teofimo Lopez. And I told y'all he was a tough guy, he was no punk, and he proved it. He proved that he was a tough guy and no punk. And that's why I can't shortchange Lomachenko. I'm never going to do that. I'm a fair guy, I'm not going to shortchange him. I think that he showed his guts, his determination. He made the surge against Teofimo Lopez, and Lopez was countering him to the body a lot, so he can maintain that surge. He wanted to really put on a clinic and go around him this way and that way, and Lopez wasn't having it. Okay, so I mean, that's how that fight turned out. What are the learning lessons we can get from fights like that? Basically, the learning lesson I get from it is do not underestimate the use of anyone. Lopez is only 23 years of age, the same age that Canelo faced Floyd Mayweather at, right? 23 years of age. Lomachenko was younger than Canelo. He's 32 years of age. He's still in his prime, at the latter end of his prime, right? And Lopez, he prevailed over Canelo, and this is prevailed over Lomachenko, and this is big because not only was it for the undisputed championship of the world unofficially, because the real champion was Loma. I just wish the WBC hadn't done that stupid franchise belt thing, because now to really legitimize it, because of this franchise bet thing, Teofimo Lopez got to do more work and say, okay, I want to legitimately be undisputed, because the WBC has this belt that they gave to Devin Haney. I'm gonna face Devin Haney just to show that I'm a legitimate undisputed. I don't want no doubts. I don't want nobody doubting me. He can do that. He don't have to, because the real champion of the division was Lomachenko, in my opinion. I'll call Devin Haney a secondary champion, right? This is just the way how I gotta say it. I gotta say it that way. I can't count Jamal Charlo as a real champion. It's still Canelo. Unfortunately for Jamal Charlo, Canelo is a franchise champion. And I just don't like these franchise belts. And I wish the WBC would just get rid of them, because now Teofimo Lopez is considered undisputed. What does that mean? And he got the franchise belt. What does that mean? You know what I mean? So, I mean, that messed up. The WBC just messed up everything. When it could have just been Lomachenko or whoever, Devin Haney. He could have faced Devin Haney next if Devin Haney had beaten Lomachenko. Because as I said before, I told you, these is new breed. These guys beat Lomachenko. Devin Haney, Tank. I still think Tank with his stamina problems would have been Lomachenko would have a good chance of trying to get a Tank. You know, and Lomachenko's tough. Even Tank dropped Lomachenko, you know. But Devin Haney, Tank, Ryan Garcia, you know, um, Shakur Stevenson, these guys, you know, and Lomachenko again, he can have a fight with Shakur Stevenson. You know, Lomachenko's career is not over. He can make a couple paychecks still, you know, and in between those big fights, he can have other fights where he can show that I'm still Lomachenko. You know what I mean? But I think his fundamental limit has been shown clearly by Teofimo Lopez, and I just knew that was going to happen, right? Um, but like I was saying, Lopez, you know, and all these new breed of fighters that we're seeing is a good breath for the sport because they're going to face each other. They're going to fight each other. You know, Lopez is now the guy in front. He's kind of like hopefully he gets to be, he gets his first pay-per-view because that should have been a pay-per-view fight that we saw on ESPN. And hopefully now they would back Teofimo Lopez, even though I'm already hearing from Teofimo Lopez that they're not backing him. Like the sponsors and people who's supposed to come through for him, they're not really looking to come through for him. You know, they were just all about backing Loma, and it was a whole agenda for Loma, you know. But that's the dirty, cold business of boxing, you know what I mean? And you know, I do believe that Teofimo Lopez, with or without Top Rank, is going to be huge because he's just something special. And I saw Bob Arum backing up Teofimo Lopez. I saw the media talking about Teofimo Lopez. I hope Bob Arum takes this other very extremely big superstar to be fighter. If he's not a superstar already, this should be the birth of a superstar because he's got all the ingredients. He's very entertaining. He really appeals to today's young generation. He's got that talk, he's got the swag, and he's got the boxing ability to back up his shit. I mean, this guy is everything. He's a complete package that you would want, you know, for boxing, you know, and the fact that he would face anybody would be great. You know, if he really backs up his shit and he's like, I'm gonna face Devin Haney next, you know, and he takes it to Devin Haney, and however that fight ends up being, whatever the result of it, you know, he backs his shit up, man. Shit, I don't care, win, lose, or draw, because this is new breed. I can't pick between them, right? Whoever wins, wins. You know what I'm saying? But they're titans, you know, and they can prove their point by facing other fighters and just showing how much more above them they are. So that's what I'm looking forward to, really. I like the trash talk between them and stuff, and I just think this is a great time. This is great for boxing. A lot of people counted Teofimo out. A lot of people are disappointed that, you know, he beat Lomachenko, but truly, out of this incident, it was only going to come things better for boxing. You know, it's going to be great stuff for boxing. So this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. Okay. A lot of people are disappointed in what happened. A lot of people acknowledge that Teofimo Lopez did win the fight. I saw one or two people, you know, talking about how Loma won, he was robbed, which I don't understand. There's no logic behind that. But most people who, you know, are not going down that ridiculous pathway, they acknowledge a new guy's in town and a new star is born, and we'll see what happens with him, because I think that him and his dad are going to be huge. They're going to be huge in the sport. Not just him and his dad, obviously, but, you know, Tank and Javante Day, all those guys we talked about at the 135, 130 division. You know, we got some exceptional guys. And then we got the other guys who are hard workers, like Jamal Herring, Miguel Berchelt. Miguel Berchelt doesn't really get the recognition he deserves because, you know, he's a hard worker and, you know, he's putting in those skills. He's building up his skills and stuff. So we'll see. Those guys are hard workers. Even Oscar Valdez is a hard worker. Okay, you know, he's working on his craft. He's not particularly like these young guns that we're talking about, but he's a good fighter. You know what I mean? He's good. He's undefeated, I think, but he's good. You know, he's solid, as they say. So this is all I got. If nobody wants to pop on here, I'm out of here because, like I said, I need to get out of here pretty quick. So if you guys don't want to hop on, hit the link and pop on here. Then I'm gonna catch you guys later. Maybe I'll catch you guys Monday if I do a stream. But this was on StreamYard. If you guys wanted to pop on, you can pop on, say your piece. Some of you guys are probably reeling from the shop. So I understand. I came early in the morning. Some of you guys again um, trying to make sense of what happened. But you know, it happens. This is boxing, right? You win some, you lose some. So don't take it too hard. Don't take it too hard. You should become Teofimo Lopez fans. The takeover, baby. That's what it was. And that's what it is. He's here to take over everything. He's here to be the number one guy in the sport of boxing. So he's backing up everything he says. It's not just trash talk. It's real talk. And you know, hope Lomachenko goes back to the Ukraine with his head held high. He shouldn't have his head held down. He's a boxer just like everybody else. You know, in this business, it's our business. And he got beat, and the better man won that night, but he can still hold his head up high. He did his best. He did the best he could, you know, and clean out the slate and get ready for something new. I got a shout out to all the people who you know knew this was coming, knew that this was coming, and all you just had to do was watch it the Top Rank series, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, right? Blood, Sweat, and Tears. That's something that Teofimo Lopez was saying all the time. That y'all should have picked up the signs that this is what was going to happen. You know, even people in the business sensed that there was going to be a flip, and they were just ignoring all the signs. You know, people were ignoring the signs. Timothy Bradley knew Teofimo Lopez was ready for this, you know, and that's why he was congratulating him in Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And he was like, man, do what you got to do, handle your business. You know, maybe Bradley went to see the camp or something and he saw what was really up. But all from the fighter meeting, he realized that Teofimo Lopez, you know, just the attitude and him and his father was, you know, that this was it. But Lopez, man, Teofimo Lopez, man, mad props out to Teofimo Lopez. Shout out to New York and Brooklyn, where Teofimo Lopez comes from, and so on. A shout out to Honduras. They got a representation. He broke all kinds of records in history because he did first guy, I think, from Honduras to be, you know, undisputed lightweight champion of the world. I don't think anybody from Honduras ever did that. Of course, I call him undisputed because Lomachenko was basically the WBC champion. Now, if Devin Haney want to say something about that, well, I guess, you know, he might have the CTO, and we'll see if they can get it on. But as to, you know, undisputed, I think of Teofimo Lopez as undisputed. Now, you know, if Teofimo Lopez wants to do like, you know, Mayweather and say, hey, you know what, I didn't really beat the man. Y'all saying that this dude is the WBC champion? All right, come see me. Come see me. You know what I mean? Because he pulled the shots now. He pulled the strings. He calls the shots. It is what it is. Teofimo Lopez, man, blood, sweat, tears, hard work, dedication. Brother, you better don't wait for nobody's approval of you, brother. Don't be disappointed with nobody. Just enjoy the spoils, man. Enjoy it, man. We as fans, we happy for you. You know, because you just broke through. You showed that this new generation, it's your time. It's your generation's time. You know what I'm saying? You broke through and did that. So, and it's huge what you did. And, you know, don't be depressed. Don't be upset. Brother, you just did something that ain't nobody doing in a long time. Okay? You became the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Ain't nobody do that in a long time. And with 4 belts, okay, it's 3. But the franchise belt, man, oh my God, why did WBC do that to this boy? This man could have had all 4 belts at once, right? But, you know, if you need to step up, go face Devin Haney and clean it up, you know, do your thing, brother. Do your thing. You know what I mean? Because celebrate, because, hey, boxing's a lonely sport, and You working for yourself and you doing these things for yourself. So that's a shout out to Teofimo Lopez. Man, I'll back you, brother. I wasn't always, I wasn't always with you on everything, but I knew when I saw what you was about, what I saw when I watched you in the amateurs, when I started watching you, I realized this kid got it. He got exactly what is necessary to beat a Lomachenko. And I knew that. And so, man, we as fans, we're happy for you, especially the new breed, the new generation. Shout out to them. Um, we're gonna see more of the new breed. This is ushered in a whole new generation. I'm sorry for ESPN hyping up Lomachenko and saying all these things. I'm sorry about that. But if they didn't hype him up, then Teofimo Lopez win wouldn't look this good. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they blew up Lomachenko so that Teofimo Lopez now is beating Lomachenko, and thankfully that's a good thing because now it makes Teofimo Lopez look even that much better. So shout out to Teofimo Lopez and his family all the way from the Caribbean. And shout out to each and every one of you guys who have picked him to win as well. I'm going to give y'all a shout out too. Yeah. And those of you who didn't pick him to win, don't worry about it, man. Well, unless you lost money, then yeah, worry about it. But I told y'all to bet on this kid. I don't care if you back Lomachenko. I didn't care if you felt that he was going to win. Put some money down because you're going to make money. This was a fight that you was going to make your money on, you know. But it is what it is. He was an underdog in this fight. He proved that he was not that kind of ilk. He came from a very good class. He had good skills and abilities. He had great boxing IQ, and his dad was doing a great job training. So that's all I got to say for now on this fight. I got to get out of here. I spent an hour with you guys. Nobody's really responding to me. So I guess the deafening silence means that a lot of people are disappointed with the results and they're disappointed with the fight. I can't do nothing about that. I'm not going to brag on you guys. I'm not going to treat you guys bad. I just wanted you guys to hop on here. And if some of you wanted to eat your crow, you could eat your crow if you wanted to. I know, thankfully, Sergey Sokolov, shout out to you, and shout out to Sergey German. Sergey Sokolov ate his crow. He was shocked. So shout out to you, brother. It's part of sports, man. They're going to be losers and winners. I've been a loser. I've been wrong. I've been wrong about stuff. But I'm highlighting the good things that Lomachenko did. He sold out and he said, man, I'm going for broke. Shit. He went for broke. You know what I'm saying? in rounds 9, 10, and 11, he went for broke. And I appreciate that. He wasn't just a guy that was laid back all the time. He was losing rounds, one round after the other, and he decided, I'm going to go for broke. And not only did he want to go for broke, but also he thought he would drag him into deep waters and drown him. That didn't work. So it's what it is. And shout out to fans, even if you got it wrong, don't feel a how about it. It is life. You can get things wrong. It happens, right? All I say to people is have good reasoning, understand what you're seeing in that ring. As boxing fans, I just want to know that you guys know what you're seeing in there. And I don't want you guys playing political agendas. I don't want you guys, saying outlandish, stupid stuff that didn't happen. Now, some of the stuff I will say on my channel sound outlandish and stupid. It'll sound that way because you never heard nobody say that besides the boxers, and you always overlook what the boxers be saying. They're articulating what they articulate and what they're stating because you're not really doing boxing, all right? And a lot of people are caught up in the power thing. Well, yeah, Teofimo Lopez's power was a factor in this fight, but Lomachenko took his power decently. So it wasn't just his power. I mean, it was his boxing skill. It was a boxing IQ. And we were able to see that. A lot of people said that Teofimo Lopez was a flat-footed fighter. It proved that he's not, right? We all see now how quick he is and how fleet of foot he is, how much he can move around the ring. He's not flat-footed, okay? I tried to explain this to people, but they didn't want to hear me, And so a lot of people thought that, Lomachenko was the better mover and was the better boxer, and Teofimo Lopez neutralized that. He nullified it. So all I'm saying is there's a lot of things that sometimes somebody says in boxing, and you just need to pay attention to what they're saying. Don't pay attention to how they relay the information. They may say it with expletives. They may say it in different ways. You have to look at what exactly they're saying, the content of what they're saying. Don't get caught up in how outlandish it seems to sound. The only time you really need to just like dismiss guys is when they're not really talking about stuff that's in the ring. You know, I heard lots of guys talk about things that have nothing to do with the fight. And that's where I separated. I haven't talked about Mayweather's out of the ring exploits. You ever notice that? I don't really talk a lot about that, right? Because I don't care about that. I care about what he did in the ring. And when he says TBE, I base it on what he did in the ring. I don't base it on how much pay-per-view money he made and all that stuff. I don't care about that, right? I'm about boxing. And I hope that these young guns and all the boxers out there, old or young, can pick up something from what Teofimo Lopez did, strategically and otherwise, and his dad did, strategically or otherwise, in this fight with Lomachenko. And I hope that a lot more younger fighters would be able to would be more encouraged to want to step and take those risks, because the younger fighters of times past, and you can look as recently as Errol Spence Jr. when he faced Kell Brook, or you can look at as recently as Reggie Spurgate versus Josh Taylor, or Nonito Donaire versus Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue, he got broken eye orbital against Nonito Donaire. Okay, Donaire was doing some damage, and Inoue stepped to the play against Donaire. You shouldn't be afraid to take those so-called step-up fights if you know you're beyond that. And not everybody has it, and not everybody knows they have it. But by being matched properly and getting the right fights and passing those fights with flying colors, the younger fighters are able to know and have the confidence to know that they can do this or that. But like I said, some of these fighters coming straight out of the amateurs could have a championship fight. Some of these fighters, you know, these new breed fighters could do that, but they let them work their way up, as they say. You have to take, you know, they have to work you up. Okay. We're looking to see how these fighters build their name, how they build their resume. But like we said, you can't keep fights too delayed. You know, they say, let this fight marinate, let that fight marinate. No. Caleb Plant was talking recently about that against Jose Benavidez. Marinating a fight is not a good idea in boxing. You know, and a lot of people would go, oh, Mayweather and Pacquiao was marinated. It wasn't Mayweather's fault that was marinated. You know, he was trying to get Pacquiao in the ring with him. He tried to get him in the ring 2010, 2012. He tried to get him in the ring with him. Pacquiao didn't want nothing to do with him. Okay. So it's not marination. That's a dude just not wanting to face you. And you have to have a dance partner. You have to have two to dance. Shout out to Sergey Sokolov. I was not responding because I was jumping on jump rope. Oh, nice. The thing I learned from that fight, even if you have one of the greatest footwork, amazing IQ, great speed, you can also be a cardio machine. And that means nearly to nothing. Nah, that's not what it's saying. Let me put you this way. And this is why I said Lomachenko's more like Manny Pacquiao than he is Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather can fight at any range. He can fight in the pocket, deep in the pocket. He can fight at mid-range, and he can fight on the outside. And when I say he can fight on the outside, I mean he can sharpshoot you from the outside. He can hit you with punches from the outside. Not just moving on the outside, but he can throw some heat at you from the outside. Okay. Shorter fighters like Lomachenko, like Pacquiao, they could outbox too, but it's much more difficult to outbox from the outside because they got to get into the pocket because the other guy has longer reach. So outboxing is almost out of the equation. They could do it. You know, you saw Teofimo Lopez do it against Nakatani had a longer reach, was a much taller fighter than Teofimo Lopez, and he boxed him from the outside, right? But it's kind of hard to do because you have to get into the pocket, do your thing, and get back out. And be either you're slipping punches and punching off of angles on the inside, even though you might be directly facing your opponent, all right? But you're getting back out. So you're in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. But you're not a mid-range fighter in the sense that you're not really doing most of your trading on the inside in the pocket. You're just throwing a shot, a pot shot, and whatever from the outside, throwing your jab from the outside, right? So because of that, it's not that Lomachenko and Pacquiao want to be limited range fighters, right? It's that just the way how they're built, they have to fight mid-range. The problem is they never developed their inside game. If they had an inside game, that would make them very dangerous because now they can fight you at mid-range or on the inside. And both Lomachenko and Manny Pacquiao do not fight exclusively on the inside, or they don't have a really great all-rounded inside game. That is that problem. When you are fighting in boxing, at least you should be able to fight at two ranges, at least two. When you're exclusive preferred range is just one, which is mid-range. It limits you to only fighting at that range. You can't fight deep in the pocket on the inside, and you can't fight on the outside. This was the problem with Lomachenko. He's an exceedingly great mid-pocket, mid-range fighter. He's also limited by the fact, as Beeb said, if you go and check out Ringside Reporter, Beeb, from YouTube, he also made a very good point. Lomachenko is not really a catch and shoot fighter. He doesn't really move his upper body and counter back with his upper body. So as a result of that, he's either all on offense and using his feet to get out the way to use more offense, or he's all on defense. So as a result of that, this is the kind of fighter he is. There are limits to what he can do in his game. So what Teofimo Lopez did to neutralize him was take away the things that he could do very well. And one of the things he does very well is get into the pocket, but he does it by the traditional the traditional way of doing that. He does everything textbook. As a result, where Pacquiao doesn't do everything textbook, as a result, the laws that govern how a southpaw gets to the inside is what he will follow, which can be countered, which can be neutralized. You understand? And that's what I've been talking about for the last month or so, how you neutralize it. And so that is where Teofimo Lopez was able to outmaneuver Lomachenko throughout the fight. Okay? And that's what a lot of, and Salido did it as well. Okay? And Salido also had a body attack. And what a lot of people talk about, even in this particular fight, we heard of low blows. It wasn't really low, but the referee had said by the belly button and above is legal. Below the belly button is not legal. And so when he hit when he hit Lomachenko on the belt line, it was strained below the belly button. But Lomachenko actually jumped up in the air, trying to jump back up in the air to avoid the punch, and that's why he got caught. So really, if he wasn't jumping up in the air, it would have been a legal punch. But you can see why Salido was landing so many low blow shots. He was working Lomachenko's body because he wanted to restrict his movement. If Teofimo Lopez didn't work Lomachenko's body, guess what? Lomachenko would have had more steam for the later rounds. And then Teofimo Lopez might have been in a lot more trouble. But Teofimo Lopez religiously went to the body, both with jabs and with lead right hands to the body of Lomachenko. And that slowed him down a bit. And in the 12th round, you saw that the body punches were really starting to take a toll on Lomachenko, which is why he didn't really have that wherewithal to really bang with Teofimo Lopez, because Lomachenko was going to bang. He was going to go all out. And Teofimo Lopez went all out as well, but he had a nasty body attack. So, you know, Sergey Sokolov says, lesson learned, not to fight a bigger guys. Nope. That had nothing to do with it. It don't really have much to do with it. Lopez was gonna be a puncher at any division. He just so happened to be a lightweight. Was he a big lightweight? Absolutely. He was a big lightweight. About 8 pounds heavier probably than Lomachenko. Lomachenko probably came 142 to 145. Lopez probably came in 150. So between 5 to 8 pounds heavier. So obviously, and he's a big, strong lightweight. He's not just well conditioned, big, strong lightweight. So he's not just but that's not the reason why Lopez won. As you can clearly see, he outboxed him. Did he have some heat behind his punches? Absolutely. Lomachenko was able to take that heat, even though he was getting hurt by it. He was able to take the heat. Okay, so it wasn't that Lopez was too big for Lomachenko, because Lomachenko could take some of that heat. It was the angles at which Lopez was mostly doing his thing, where Lomachenko couldn't get to him like he really wanted to. And Lopez really teed off with Lomachenko with some brutal body shots. Some real that would have been knock down anybody else. Lomachenko's got a ridiculous condition. He's a tough ass. If you don't have the conditioning to go 12 rounds with Lomachenko, he's gonna beat your ass up, especially in the championship rounds. He comes on strong. We saw it against Jose Pedraza. We saw it against Luke Campbell, and we saw it in the 9th round against Jose Linares. Okay, he come on strong, and it was Lomachenko we saw. He came on strong in the 9th round, but again, Teofimo Lopez was able to neutralize that because he was also landing body punch after body punch under some nasty, nasty body punches. I saw him hit him with a what did he hit him with? He hit him with a left hook to the body as Lomachenko was pivoting out to the right. He hit him. Oh, I said, Jesus. And Lomachenko took it. He took it. All right. So it's not Lomachenko's. Listen, what you guys don't understand is he's a phenomenal athlete. He's a phenomenal fighter. I keep on saying it over and over because I want you guys to understand. I got nothing against Lomachenko. Okay, ESPN I have something against because they overhyped him and they lied about things that he did. I got no issue with Lomachenko. He's a hell of a fighter. I'm not gonna hate the fighter because the machine that was behind the fighter was putting him down. Oh no. But I told y'all I knew how to beat him. Didn't I tell you all I knew how to beat him? And the game plan, well, actually, Teofimo Lopez did a little bit more than the game plan that I thought because he distance controlled him. So he did a little bit more than what I was suggesting. And so, I was specifically talking about turning him a certain way, but Teofimo Lopez took it to a whole other level, right? And the thing about it is that Lopez actually did more than I was explaining, But one thing that Lopez did, the principle of making Lomachenko come down the center, he had to come down the center. You got to meet me down the center, and you got to go through some heat to meet me. That was the principle that I basically was talking about, right? And Vasily Lomachenko is a hell of a fighter, man. Y'all crazy, man. If y'all don't think the dude, look what the dude just done in his career. Okay, he got the opportunities, but look what he's done in his career. So I'm not putting down Vasily Lomachenko. I will never do that. The man is he's a better fighter than Triple G was. He's a better fighter than Triple G was. Because think about this. This guy's not a one-punch knockout artist. And he was putting fools down. He was making fools quit. So no, he's not a joke. Okay? Don't feel a how about it. You're just a fan. You know what I'm saying? You're just a fan. You didn't have to fight. He's the guy that got to go home and deal with his sores and bruises. He's the guy that has to regroup a bit. Don't take on the fighter's burdens. Feel a how for him, but he's a true champion. He a real deal. He was a real deal. But he's limited to range. That's why I knew I could beat him. I knew how to beat him because he was limited to range. Don't feel a how about it. He's a hell of a fighter. And listen, I told you he could fight. I told you he could fight. I told you he wasn't a punk. Didn't I put that out in the videos? I told you he's no punk. This is not no chump. If he got to go fight his way in, and he did that. He took a hell of a lot of firepower to do that. And he still was smart with it because he realized I can't take this firepower relentlessly. He'll get me out of there. So he was smart with it. He was very tactical and smart with it. But Teofimo Lopez was equal to the task. That's what makes this fight so great. And I don't want to hear nobody saying, oh, this fight didn't live up to the hype and it wasn't that. Don't do that to the fighters, because you're not only doing it to Teofimo, who you think you slight in the hand, you're doing it to Loma. Loma's he's a great fighter. He's going to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. And he's still going to give fighters trouble. Look at Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao gave Keith Thurman trouble. Right? He's up there with the top guys. Lomachenko was a top dog. Whether he wants to stay at lightweight or he wants to go down to super featherweight, of course, the loss is going to affect him and he's going to feel a how about the loss. But he's lost before. So they all don't feel a how about it. Yes, he lost this time where a guy who outplayed him in terms of game plan. He got outplayed, right? But he was always hesitant to come into this fight because he knew Teofimo Lopez. He said it. He said, I expect a chess match. He knew what he was getting himself into. He knew the challenge that he had to deal with. And he was trying to figure out, navigate a way to overcome that challenge. And what he thought was cardio. I got the superior cardio. I need to get him to slow down. And Teo did slow down. But Teo also was thinking the same thing. As you saw how smart he was. He was like, I need to conserve myself. He trying to get me to try and knock him out early, so he will have something in the tank to get me out of there later on, because he got the superior cardio. Obviously, Lomachenko got the superior cardio. You saw this man was going all the way to 12. I mean, Teo started rocking his ass in the 12th round. It took 12 rounds to really start to hurt Lomachenko really, really bad. And in the midst of that, Lomachenko was smart enough to headbutt. And by the time he got that veteran, he got that veteran savvy in him. He's smart. All right, his will to win is there. It's just that he came up short against a much, much more. I know this is gonna hurt some people, but I gotta say it. He's a smarter fighter than Lomachenko. He's smarter. Smarts. I'm not talking about IQ now. He's smarter. And they knew how to handle that style. They knew how to handle that style. So he was smarter than Lomachenko in that fight. And Lomachenko did the best he could. That's why it hurts him a bit. But he shouldn't feel a how about it. This is how the fight game is. Just all we as fans need to do is let the fighter do their best. If it wasn't good enough, it is what it is. The guy was the better guy in that night. You know what I mean? Right? So again, it happens. It's boxing. Okay? It's boxing. Right? He has all that and still loses. For me, it's some kind of Mikey versus Errol Spence reference. Yeah. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, Errol Spence was seen as also a power punch. They didn't think he could box. And he showed it, right? He showed, but Mikey Garcia was more of a shutout than Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez, because Lomachenko actually did something in rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, and even 12. He was trying to, he said, you know what, I'm going to sell out. I'm going to still be smart, but I'm going to sell out and try and do the best I could. And he tried the best he could. He put the heat on, and Teo said no, and he put the heat back. You know what I'm saying? In select places, he chose to go with a body attack. And I don't know if he'd have gotten Lomachenko out in the 12th round, because Lomachenko was tough as hell. And I told you he wasn't a punk, and I told you he was tough, you know, but, you know, it is what it is, you know. You beat him. Shout out to everybody. Again, the link is in the chat section if you want to hop on board, say your piece. If you feel, you know, you need to say certain things and get it off your chest, this is where the avenue is for you to do so. I'm going to step away from the microphone for a second so I can go use the bathroom and relieve myself, come back here, and I'm going to talk some more boxing with you guys. I do it early in the morning because I got to get to work and I got to do some other things for today. If you feel you need to say what you need to say, open your mouth, say it. Sergey Sokolov, shout out to you, brother. You talking the truth. You letting out the stuff that's inside of you, you know. again, like I said before, Lomachenko was a hell of a fighter. I take nothing away from him, but what people thought about him is that he could do a lot of things like box on the outside and in fight, and he can do some of that. Let's speak about the play. He can fight off the back foot a little bit. That's not his forte though. His forte is to fight at mid range. So styles make fights, and Vasily Lomachenko uh, lost this fight because of that fundamental fact. Now, does that mean that everybody who tries to keep him at bay or tries to keep him on the outside, will succeed? Absolutely not. Okay, because like as you saw, he got that championship heart, and he will clear through. He'll break all the way through. If you got to take some punches to do so, he will fight you. And it came down to fighting Teofimo Lopez because Lopez had so much control in the fight. He will fight you, and you saw he came back and he was throwing his punches and he was landing some punches, so he can fight you. So if you're not well conditioned, if you don't have that IQ to know what to do, to how to deal with him, if you don't have that championship mentality, if you don't have that boxing smarts, if you don't have, there's a lot of ingredients you have to be able to beat Vasily Lomachenko. That's not going to happen like that. Like, for example, Lomachenko liked to tank because Tank wasn't committed to boxing like he is now. And Tank does fade, in his last fight with Gamboa, he faded 7, 8, 9, 10. So I could see Lomachenko just putting it on him at that point in time. And Tank having to regroup and then being able to have to come back at Lomachenko. Because like I said before, Lomachenko is a real smart dude. He's not going to just let you, fire off your shots at him and land certain shots on him. Teofimo Lopez landed that right uppercut about 2, 3, 4 times in the fight. That's about it. And he threw it relentlessly, right? But again, the intention, Lomachenko has to dodge that shot to do something, and then by the time he dodges the shot, he's out of position. So it's those kinds of things with Teofimo was like, oh, you want to really come down the center? Come down the center, because that's the only thing I'm going to give you, and I'm gonna put some heat on you if you come down the center. So that's the way how that went down with that fight. But no, Lomachenko was a hell of a fighter, man. Let me take this break right here. I'm gonna come back in a second, see if you guys want to hop on. If anybody want to hop on. Nobody want to hop on? Uh, this is what I want to ask you, because I like that some people are training, man. You don't get me motivated right there. Um, what I would say is I would ask you why you thought that Vasily Lomachenko, why you thought that you picked him to win the fight, and you could just give your reasons. My thing is this: right or wrong, you had to have a reason for why you said you chose what you chose. And I just want to hear what different people have, what their reasons are for choosing Lomachenko to win and Lopez not to win. It doesn't matter what your reasons are. I just want to hear it, because what we can do as fans is we can help one another to try and make better predictions. Because, hey, look, we might be wanting to put down some money on some shit. You never know. I'm just joking. I don't bet, but yo, sometimes, man, you know, if you can predict well, you can make money off of just, advising people on where to put their bets for betting. I know one guy, he came to me on Facebook and he asked me, man, where should I put my money down? You look like you know what you're talking about. And I was like, all right, cool. Drop me your picks and I'm gonna tell you what I think. And he he wants some money. It was like, man, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that in boxing, sometimes I think a lot of you guys should think about this. It's not so much about ego. It's never been about ego in boxing. You got to be humble in boxing. Teofimo Lopez got to be humble because how you gonna learn? See, most of the abilities that you're born with certain abilities, right? That's why I don't like to use the word talented. I prefer to use the word skilled because how do you learn skills? You've got to be taught. And to be taught skills means you have to be humble enough to be taught in boxing. And that's why I come on here and I talk to you guys as fans because it takes a certain humility for you to receive what I'm saying, especially when it sounds crazy. And similarly, it takes a certain amount of humility on my part to listen to you and what you have to say and shut my mouth and listen to where you're coming from. And that's why what you need, the channel that I have is for you to have a voice. It's for you to come on here and say what you say in a safe space where I'm not condemning you. I'm not putting you down for your choice so you can be free to make a next choice and be wrong. Nothing wrong with that. I've been wrong. So this is what it's all about. I want you guys to have a voice, a place where you can talk about boxing. And the guy who is the moderator is just listening in on what you got to say. And I can put my input as well. But boxing is a thing that's really great sport, man. It's a great sport for your health. It's a great sport when you understand the smartness of it and the intelligence of it. And it's also a great sport for just banging out. Two guys just banging out. They're just going at it, right? It's great for that because at the end of the day, if you've banged out somebody, more likely, if you did not really, you spent so much energy that at the end of the day, you just want to hug the person at the end of the day, especially if you had a really good violent fight, So, I mean, for guys who are testosterone based, it's great. It's a great sport in that respect. Instead of shooting each other or, attacking each other and killing each other, well, you get in the ring, get paid for it, and do your thing, right? So I understand what boxing is, and I understand, and some of you fans probably should. That's why I said some of you guys who are hot-headed and you're getting angry over things and you're passionate about this boxing and that, but why don't you just try out boxing? Try it out for yourself. Hit a punching bag. Just get that energy out of you. Because when you start doing the sport, it's great, man. It's great for you. You know what I mean? And some of you guys will get so good at it. I'll be so surprised. But Sergey Sokolov, man, shout out to you, brother. You're a true fan of the sport because you actually are voicing your opinion, and your opinion is not bad. It's an opinion. And all I'm saying is that, and it's good to give your opinion, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that, sometimes in the sport, we get fans that say some ridiculous stuff that have nothing to do with boxing whatsoever. And we just trying to make the sport one in which we could say that the fans of the sport, they're dedicated to the sport. They want to see the sport build, and they really know what they're seeing when they watch the sport. So that when we have educated fans, those fans can educate people who are casual fans about the sport, so they get to really enjoy the sport, and they may even want to do the sport. That's what you want. You want to get the golden era back. You have to have. You can't be saying, I hear some people in the business say, "Oh, the fans are always correct, and you shouldn't be buffing and remanding the fans." Well, then how are we gonna approach it? We got to do it the right way somehow. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the fans should be free to say what they want to say too, but you must be able to correct them. You must be able to how do I say? You must be able to let them know what this is a sport. You know, you should respect it. It's not just people throwing hands. You know what I mean? A lot of people just feel it's just people throwing hands, and there's no. It's not like other sports. It's just people throwing hands, and it's a primitive thing, and it's less blood, guts, and gore. And that's not what the sport is. A lot of the casual fans, that's all they think it is. They think it's a scrap. People get in the ring and they must scrap. You know what I mean? And they can't see nothing else because they're just using their hands as far as they're concerned. They don't see them using their feet, their upper body, their head. They don't see those things, right? They just see it in a very basic way. People fighting, and that's it. And it's up to us as fans not to beat them down and bash them, but to help them understand that there's a lot more to it. And it's actually just like every other sport out there in the sense that there's a science to it. And just how you guys talk about game plans for different plays and training and stuff. Yeah, there's actually science to it. It's not just He-Man and the strongman contest and the tough guy contest and the powerful guy contest and the fast guy contest, which is what that's a general thing. And I was glad that Habib kind of brought this up when I was watching Habib his channel, because everybody was talking about good footwork is a guy that moves around a lot. No, it's not. Good footwork is effective footwork, where, like Beeb said, was part of it at least, it is being in balance. It's being a balanced guy, that you're not off balance. You're not overreaching with certain shots sometimes. Depends. If you're punching through a shot, you're going to overreach. Okay? That's just what happens because you're punching through so you're trying to throw your full weight behind it. But good footwork involves also balance. It also involves effectiveness. And what I mean by effectiveness is that depending on what range you're working with, there's footwork for that. For example, if you're fighting on the inside, then you have to sidestep your opponents. You have to step around them. That's what inside fighting is, stepping around them, but just body to body. So there's a way to pivot where you use the body weight of your opponent to pivot around them without them pivoting around you. So you have to understand that and how you position your body in space. And then there's the mid-range fighting where you're pivoting around guys as well, outside and inside pivots, but that one's a little bit different, right? And then there's footwork for outboxing where you're way outside the pocket. And then there's footwork for just inside the pocket, in and out footwork, right? So there's different footwork for different things, right? And a lot of people feel that there's just one kind of footwork and that makes this guy, and in the generic sense, this guy has a better footwork than this guy. That's a generic thing because really styles make fights. So really your footwork is specific to a fight. Well, this guy has more effective footwork in this fight than this guy because he's able to do such and such thing with this guy and therefore allow him. And sometimes guys don't even have that great of footwork, but they have great upper body movement. So depending on what kind of fight, what kind of matchup, really we could describe the footwork. It's really relevant to the style that you're facing. And it's not really, this guy has great footwork, like fans generally say, as if, boxers just have great footwork. No, the footwork is good depending on who you're facing. Then we can see. And then if somebody's so versatile that they can use their different footwork for different situations and different styles, then we can say, this guy has great footwork. But really, when you think about it, what makes footwork great or not great is the effectiveness. That's why the word effective is a very, very important word in boxing. It's how effective you are. It's not even volume. A guy can throw a lot of punches. He can even land, a few punches. But who had the more effective punches, right? So sometimes volume is not the most effective thing. I can give you an example. An example is, a guy who is throwing a lot of, shots which are not okay. Floyd Mayweather Sr. versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Okay, Floyd Mayweather Sr. was throwing a lot of punches on Sugar Ray Leonard, a lot of punches, but they weren't effective punches. They were landing on Sugar Ray Leonard, yeah, and Sugar Ray Leonard had to sometimes get out of the way of certain ones. But Sugar Ray Leonard's punches were more effective when they landed on Mayweather Senior, they're Mayweather Senior's punches, right? Because Mayweather Senior had hurt his hand, and so he couldn't he couldn't punch through the target. He had to punch at the target, snap on, and some of the punches they weren't hard shots at all, right? So that's an example of effectiveness. So even though you may see punch stats where this guy's outlanding another guy, you have to ask yourself, because punch stats never show this, which of the punches really were effective, though? Because if this guy's landing a whole bunch of punches on the other guy, but the other guy knocks him out, what were the effective punches? Punches that broke the guy down and then finally knocked him out, right? So effectiveness is the key in boxing. And that's a word that I try my best to talk about either on this channel or wherever, and so that you guys would be able to be up to speed with what you are really seeing in the ring. That's why they talk sometimes in replays like ESPN and so on. They show what they think is the most impactful punches of the round, and that's why the impactful punches, which we call clean effective punching, sometimes determines the round for a fighter. So, for instance, Andre Ward in round 2, I think it was he was throwing some pretty good jabs and stuff, but then he got hit with that right hand off the jab, right? That 1-2, boom, knocked him down. So immediately Sergey Kovalev won that round, and immediately was an 8-10 round. It didn't really matter what Andre Ward was doing before. The round went to Sergey Kovalev immediately after he knocked down Andre Ward. And so that's effectiveness. So you can't just talk about numeracy. You also have to look at quality. All right. And quality determines. And you know what's interesting about Lopez? Lopez did something like Mayweather or Hopkins or even Andrew Ward, in that he was able to reduce the activity and punch output of Lomachenko. Right? Lomachenko didn't throw much of a punch for most of the fight. He started activating himself and moving around 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? He started throwing more punches. But he wasn't throwing anything literally, he wasn't throwing anything at all for the first 6 rounds, right? And that's just to show you again how effective Teofimo Lopez was with what he was doing. Because Lomachenko didn't want to take the risk of going through that firepower. And Teo was really sharp early on. And in the 12th round, he was very sharp as well. And he faded somewhere around rounds 9, 10, 11. He was fading. And then he would come back, but he would always respond. He would always respond to what Lomachenko was doing. But he was kind of faded. And then he cut back himself in 11th and 12th. He ended 11th to 12th, right? He looked sharp again. And the point is, how effective you are is what really determines how good you are. And if you're good with several different styles, several different kinds of opponents, that's where we talk about you being, exceptional, right? So Lomachenko was able to do that because he got the opportunity to face so many different opponents, different styles at the highest level. And that's how he established his exceptionalism. And so a lot of people took for granted that Teo, it didn't look like Teo was that exceptional, except you compare his wins of that opponent against other what considered pretty exceptional guys. He was blowing these guys out of the water. He was showing that levels now. I don't even know that. No. These guys are nowhere near my level. Like, they get the bum treatment, right? So what he did to Richard Comey should have told everybody, and it woke me up even, because I thought Richard Comey was going to land some right hands on him. But what he did to Richard Comey showed that he was levels above Richard Comey, just way above Richard Comey. So that's why I started to explain to you, even though he didn't get the opportunity to showcase how good he was, and Lomachenko did, it didn't mean that he wasn't good and good enough to beat Lomachenko, which now, because he beat Lomachenko, shows how good he really is. And the way how he beat Lomachenko in such a dominant fashion, in such a strategic, using ring IQ and smart way, showed how far advanced he was, right? And it shows how much these upcoming crop of fighters that we're seeing, not the we've seen some upcoming crop as well, but this particular upcoming crop is a special upcoming crop of fighters, and we're going to see how that goes. And I'm sure the fighters after them are going to be interesting as well. So I'm just saying all of this to say that there's a different caliber of fighter out there. If you or I go into boxing right now, you know, we could get stopped and stuff, right? Because we don't have that long, extensive, immense amount of years behind us in boxing. Teofimo Lopez, at the tender age of 23, has been boxing for 18 years. That means he's been boxing since he was 5. Figure that into the equation. All right. Now, I'm not saying that boxers in the past were boxing at such early age too. Some of them were. But my thing is, you see how much you see how much career this kid has. 18 years career, right? And so that's important to understand. And again, I say all of this just to say that the arguments, the knowledge that we get to use when we are more knowledgeable fans, and we spread that knowledge to other people, because a lot of people are in love with the rock and sock and robot kind of thing. Even the OGs out here, and I see a lot of OGs, and even some of the media, because they're OG like, um, they're in love with that. But while we will get some of that in boxing, the guys today are so exact, and there's so much more athletes than yesteryear. That's going to be hard to just, and they go through such crucibles of fire now that they're like gladiators. They're pretty indestructible. Like, knocking out one of these young guns is going to be very hard to do. You know, Rosario got knocked out by Charlo because of 2 reasons. One, I think he was too big for the weight class, and 2, because he never was committed to the lifestyle that the Charlos had since they were children. Demetrius Andrews committed to that lifestyle. These are the kinds of fighters we're talking about. The children, they were committed to it. This kid was playing around with it, and he started getting serious at a certain age. Yesteryear fighters was the same thing. The only thing that kept them in shape was fighting. You see, that's what kept them in shape. But today's fighters are not like that. They stay in shape, and they stay ready, and they stay prepared all the time between fights. So like, when you look at Devin Haney, for example, he's a perfect example of that. And Teofimo Lopez. Tank was not an example of that. Broner wasn't an example of that. But if Tank stays with Mayweather and stays committed, understands, like what Caleb Plant says, when I'm not working, somebody's working harder than I am. That's the mindset you gotta have. This is a life, and these guys are dedicated their lives to boxing. They're not just boxing and then womanizing and doing any old thing, drinking and mistreating their bodies with cocaine and drugs, and they don't do that. Used to be fighters back in the day used to do that, right? And so this is what you got to understand. Even Sugar Ray Leonard fell prey to that kind of stuff. Roberto Duran, as we all know, fell prey to that. That's why one of the reasons why he lost the second fight. Eat, gorge, do all kinds of things, and then he get messed up. And I'm trying to say that today's fighters are not like, they're not trying to drop the ball like that. And on top of that, now they got all the knowledge and the science behind it, the old school mixed with the new school, and just all that stuff going on, right? So the guys today are so super sharp. Like, guys back in the day was quick, but were they as sharp as the guys today? Would they be able to have the stamina of the guys today? Look at what I'm talking about. Look at the difference between Horton and Nara's stamina, okay? And Teofimo Lopez's stamina. I want you guys to pay attention. There's a different caliber fighter, and we as fans, if we are in the boxing business, we need to be cognizant of that. We need to be cognizant of what we're really watching, so that when we want to promote it to casual fans who don't understand the sport, we're able to articulate it properly. We're able to say it properly. We're able to, when the fans say, "Oh man, this is a boring fight," you look at them and, boring. Didn't you see what he just did to that guy there? Look, he just landed a right hand on him, straight, bam. Now, the commentator might be not mentioning that. The commentator might be hyped about that. because the commentator is biased towards a certain fighter. And so the fans sitting down there, the casual fans saying, oh, this is boring, because the commentator's talking it down. So you have to show and point out, look, he's just look at he landed right to his body. Look at that. Look at that nasty. You got to let him know and let him feel what's really going on. Because sometimes your commentary team, they ain't into it because the guy who they're backing ain't doing nothing. And sometimes in these fights, you see one guy not doing nothing and the other guy's doing something. So that's what sometimes happens in these top tier fights, because the guy who's doing something has disabled the guy that's doing nothing. And that's how boxing works. So, people talk about, some fights are boring fights. This was a boring fight. You gotta, as fans of the sport, you gotta stand up for your sport. Because you know what they're gonna say? Oh, UFC is more exciting than that. When UFC's boring. For me, I don't want to watch no ground action. That's boring. Seeing guys wrestle on the ground, that's exciting. You serious? You serious? Like, are you serious? Like, that for me is boring. Now, I'm not trying to bash USC or anything. That's just my personal preference, because I don't know what's going on the ground. Maybe you guys find it more interesting. But we got to stand up for boxing. We got to love the sport, not just fighters in the sport. We should be pro-fighter, and we should defend fighters, but we got to stand up for the sport. And got to understand there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. That doesn't make the guy who lost any less great than he was. It's just that he's susceptible to certain styles and people with certain attributes to be able to implement those styles. You understand? Lomachenko was no less of a fighter than he was before this fight. It's phenomenal. And he's going to whoop ass. And he's going to continue to whoop ass. But there's always going to come around a special fighter who could beat him. Why is that a problem? That's been in boxing forever. Like, why is this suddenly a problem? Because some people put him up on a pedestal beyond what he really was. If you bought into the hype that ESPN was giving him, not in terms of how good a fighter he was, but in terms of, they were saying he's pretty much untouchable. They're saying that he never, he's unbeatable, even though he was beaten. Then they erase his loss and put in his place a draw. And they don't want to talk about Salido. Salido's still this bad guy. Oh, he hit him with low blows. No, Salido was hitting with body punches. Yes, some of them strayed low and hit him on his thigh and hit him in his groin and so on. And the referee probably should have penalized Salido for that. But he let it roll, right? He let it roll. Cole let it roll. When Weeks was allowing Maidana to cut, bite, headbutt, knee Floyd Mayweather, y'all wasn't saying nothing. Some of y'all who hate Floyd Mayweather, y'all wasn't saying nothing. And y'all still regard Maidana as a good fighter. And guess what? He is. Nobody's saying nothing about Vasily Lomachenko butting Teofimo Lopez in his head. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's sad. Why? You should be happy for the victor. Okay, you sad for the guy that you back. No problem. It doesn't make him any less of a great fighter. Okay? He was matched tough from the beginning. He asked for it. He got it. And this is one of his matching tough. He's not going to win every single fight. You knew that after the Salido fight. But you know what happened? I'm going to tell y'all what happened. I started making excuses for him losing. ESPN. And they tried to villainize Salido for his tactics and what he did in the fight. They didn't give him his due respect. That's what happened. But if they had given Salido his respect for beating Loma, even though he used roughhouse tactics, no doubt about it. But if they had given him the credit that he deserved for Loma, Loma would be better off today. You don't make excuses for your fighter losing. You say tough, That guy was the better man. He was the better dude. My dude took the loss, but I hope he bounces back like a true champion and comes back better. And add some wrinkles to his game to convince the judges that he's the better man tonight. That's what y'all supposed to say as fans. Because guess what? In all sports, there are winners and losers. There's winners and losers. I told you guys this. Mayweather, okay, in the pros, he's won every one of his fights. But in the amateurs, he lost. He lost. He lost. And he had to handle that. Now, he thought some of the fights he won that he lost, but that's irrelevant. You got a big L on your name there. So it is what it is. It is what it is. You got to accept it. And that's what he did. He accepted his loss. And he used it to fuel him further. Teofimo Lopez, he lost several fights in the amateurs. But it's everything in life. It's a growing experience. Everything in life is a growing experience. Anthony Joshua said something so true. He was so honest about it. He said, everybody can't be undefeated. He says, you never know. I could lose a fight. But if I lose, I'm going to come back stronger. And he says, look out, guys, if you're facing the best, sometimes you lose some fights. Sometimes. The intention is not to lose. But if you do lose, you bounce back harder, you bounce back stronger. A true champion can take a loss and bounce back. So I say all of this just to make you people understand. This is real talk about boxing, right? We talking real talk right here. That don't make Lomachenko any less of a great fighter because he's lost to a greater guy or a guy who better him that night. All right? Because on that night, Teofimo Lopez was the better guy. It happens. It's boxing. And Lomachenko has nothing to be ashamed of. Not one damn thing. It happens. Now you got to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to deal with that. Right? That's all it means. Manny Pacquiao, he lost to Mayweather. He lost to Jeff Horn. He lost. Came back. And he came back stronger. Came back stronger. Came back better. Because whether you win or lose, you better learn something from it. You better learn something from winning or losing. Even in your win, you can learn something. And if you got to lose, you might as well learn something from the loss. And that's all to it. That's all to it. Your pride's going to get hurt. But guess what? This is real life. In real life, nobody in real life wins all the time. Nobody. I don't know anybody at least. So ultimately, if you take a loss, that doesn't mean you've lost. Now, having said that, it is huge when somebody goes through their entire career and they only win. I'm not talking about losing even. There's no losing in the equation. They just only win in their pro career. That's huge too. And that's why ESPN tried to erase Lomachenko's loss. I get it. It's huge. Everybody want to talk. You know, this is the thing about. See, I don't double speak. You notice that. Everybody want to berate Mayweather and make jokes about him and make fun of him, but they all damn well know what he did with his career and his record is something that's very difficult to do, to duplicate. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. I don't know anybody who has done it to that extent that he did it. Right? And that's why he's special. But having said all of that, there's some of these young guns here that might supersede that. Maybe. Some of them will take losses. But they have the potential to supersede that. Maybe some of them will do greater things and take a loss, or greater things and not win all their fights. They may have a draw or whatever. It doesn't matter. The important thing is, at the end of the day, that in the journey that is specific to you as a specific fighter, or you as a specific fan following a specific fighter, that we get the best facing the best, right? And then we see how they deal with each other. That's all that matters. So in boxing, it's about who you face and who you beat, especially now when the sanctioning bodies, aka the WBC, is doing all kinds of crazy stuff that we never seen before. WBC bringing out franchise belts. They got like a million different kinds of belts. I remember I was trying to break it down back in the day, the different kinds of belts. Now the ridiculousness, I don't even understand what there's some real stupidity going on the highest level of the WBC concerning belts. Okay, they do a lot of great things, the WBC, but right now they're just acting a fool. I don't understand what the hell they doing. Okay, so what you have to focus on, get your blinders on. Your focus should be on who these guys are facing or who these guys are beating. That's what you should get your blinders on, to see who the best is facing the best. Because the way especially the WBC right now is behaving is dumb. They've done a lot of crazy things in the last couple year or so. They've done a lot of stupid stuff. Okay, a lot of stupid stuff that makes us just wonder. This is supposed to be the flagship sanctioning body. What the hell are they doing? Okay, so Sergey Sokolov is throwing shade at Mayweather, saying he's already been beaten by Teofimo Munsri, aka Wenyan Menyathan. That's my dude, by the way. I like Wenyan Menyathan a lot. And Sergey Sokolov says 54-0. Like I said, Floyd Mayweather won all his fights facing the best out there. That's what I'm saying. So that's not superseded by what he's accomplished. It's very hard for anybody to accomplish that. It's not just getting 54-0. I could pull up a Joe right now, a Joe Blow, who has 60-0. I'm sure I could pull up that record right now with a guy who never fought at a championship level, but he beat everybody that he faced. I'm pretty sure I could bring guys with obsolete boxing records that ain't been in no sanctioning body whatsoever, 100 and something and won, 100 and something and 0. From what you call it, Stop Action, what's up? from some Latin American country. I'm sure there are a lot of guys who've done, faced 200 guys and I'm sure they still have that out there. It's the quality of opposition, like I kept on saying to you. You hear me say this is a mantra now. It's who you face, who you beat. But who he faced and who he beat in them 50 wins, mind you, is it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Which is why Menyon Menyathan, he ain't collecting millions and millions and millions of dollars, because his competition, while decent, he's had 12 championship fights now, 12 championship wins. And he's faced, I think it was 4 former world champions, 1 present world champion, I think, 3 former world champions, 1 present world champion, something like that. That's a hell of a record. I like Wenyan Menyathan. You call him Teofimo Munsri, I call him Wenyan Menyathan, okay, from Thailand. Awesome little guy. I love him. Love to watch him. That's my dude since 2012, I think. But and I don't like you guys making fun of him either, because I'm pro boxer all the way. I'm gonna defend boxers all the way. Even Gennady Golovkin. I'm gonna try and be honest with you guys, but at the same time, let me get into it. So yeah, Wenyan Menyathan, he ain't faced that kind of the caliber and the level of competition that Mayweather's faced. Just had never had. So when I say it's going to be very hard for people to replicate that or surpass it, it's going to be very difficult to do. Wenyan Menyathan didn't face the biggest names of his time, the biggest names in his division, far less his time. Okay. Um, so that's why we know about Mayweather. There are guys who have have been undefeated through many, many fights. But it's the caliber of opposition you got to look at when you're talking about this. Ain't nobody faced a caliber of opposition within 50 fights or whatever when they were undefeated like Mayweather. And you can go all the way back into time. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, he did something that's just different. You know what I mean? Anybody want to jump on here? The link is in the chat section. You guys can talk. Sergey Sokolov says the mini flyweight division. No, he's minimum weight, also known as strawweight. Yeah, the mini flyweight. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know Wenyan Min Austin, man. He's called Wenyan Min Austin as well. Min Austin. Yeah, from Thailand. They have multiple names. That's just the way how that works over there. Step Action says, thanks, Lopez. You made me bank. Ah! Nice. What's up, my people? Amen. Willie Pep, Henny Armstrong, Sugar Ray Robinson, the game has changed. Yes, sir. Glad to see you are happy, man. Glad to see you are happy. That's what I want my channel to be one where people are happy and they're comfortable to say what they want to say. You know what I mean? And y'all can hop on here anytime right now as guests and just tell people who you are if you want to. If you don't want to, I mean, this is what this platform is for. It's for you guys. Yeah, man, I said I was going to spend 20 minutes and it turned out to be 2 hours. And I think I've said enough. I'm going to wrap it up right here. I'm what you need. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because all I want to do is see I want to see the sport do better as well. That's why I'm even here. It's for it to do better and for people to be able to understand what's happening. Just like how if you were watching baseball, you know what a curveball is, you understand the game plan in there. If you're watching sprinting, you understand what's going on with that, to describe it as well. And if you have like American football or soccer, you understand the plays and what's going on, like real fans. Well, the same thing with boxing. We should be able to understand what's going on, what's the play right there, what the dude doing, what's his game plan, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a sport, right? It's a blood sport, but it's a sport. And we can see that boxing is becoming more of a sport than it is a blood, guts, and gore kind of thing. Okay? Came from a long way. Boxing came from a long way, people. From a long way. From people just scrapping and doing whatever they wanted to do to this. Okay? So Stop Asking says, that's why I love your channel, bro. Shout out to you, brother. Thanks for showing me love. All you guys watching this video right now, thanks for showing me love as well. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget you can show me love in monetary ways as well by Western Union MoneyGram. If you feel like smacking that like button, smack the like button. If you don't feel like doing it, please don't do it. We're real on here. We're not trying to entice you to smack the like button because we just want likes. I don't really care about that too much. Do want the donations if you want to donate. I'm just playing with y'all. But at the end of the day, I was going to do this anyway, whether I was getting donations or not, because I just feel like this is something where the video, audio, picture says peace. What's up, video, audio, pictures? Stop asking. I like my dude. Let me just say, Sergey Sokolov, man, you're the dude up in here. Don't even feel a how about Floyd Mayweather or no Floyd Mayweather. We about the sport. And Serhi German, shout out to you, brother. I know some of y'all smarting from the loss that Loma you kind of take it personally or take it inside of you, but you shouldn't. It's sports. But then again, we are all attached to a favorite. So, hey, I understand. But big shout out to Teofimo Lopez, nonetheless, for the win. Big shout out to Lomachenko for giving us the opportunity to see this fight, allowing us to be entertained in the COVID season with something that was highly anticipated. If Loma didn't step up to the table, man, we wouldn't have this fight. And he stepped up to the table. Big props up to Loma. I don't know why you should be disappointed, brother. You did everything you could. You fought the best you could. And you made it a fight when it needed to be. You turned up, you tried your best, and that's all we ask of fighters, to try their best and to give us a fight. So listen, man, blood, sweat, and tears on both sides. Lomachenko always work hard, blood, sweat, and tears. Do not be discouraged, man. Lomachenko, brother from another mother, same sort of mindset. Lomachenko carried the sport on his back in a certain way by being on the pound for pound list. The brother doesn't have one hit or quitter power, but man, the brother could box his ass off and he can fight. And that's all we could ask of you, brother. And so I don't have any love lost for Lomachenko. I've been praising him nonstop. I'm gonna continue to praise him. When y'all, all discounting him and counting him out and trying to say all kinds of unsavory bullshit about he's overhyping stuff, I'm gonna be back in this, brother. Okay, because this brother came all the way from Ukraine, okay, to the United States of America, signed with Top Rank, and he carried the flag for Top Rank for a minute. Jim Lampley wasn't jumping out of his seat praising him, okay, because he was so technical, okay. It wasn't praising. Now they say he's calling him the Matrix and stuff, and he's still the Matrix. Because guess what? The Matrix is something you live in, and if you ain't aware of the Matrix, you can't manipulate it. Now, they were calling him Neo, when in fact, he was the Matrix. That's what you should call him, the Matrix. Neo turned out to be Teofimo Lopez, who was manipulating the Matrix to whatever he wanted it to be. But that's not the point. The point is that the Matrix is always going to be there. And you can't do without the Matrix if you want the machine world not to destroy the human world. Let's just put it down like that. How you like that? So he's still the Matrix. You understand? And the thing about it is that he gonna be the Matrix for a lot of fighters. He's still not gonna be solved with a lot of fighters because they don't understand exactly what he does, how he does it, or even if they do understand it cognitively, they're not able to put their skills into play like Teofimo Lopez did to try and handle that Matrix. So it's not going to be easy for a lot of fighters. And if you're not up on your cardio, if you're not up on your conditioning, if you're not up on your, and he's going to may have to do a little bit more fighting at super featherweight, but I still believe that he will beat a lot of fighters out there, top tier fighters I'm talking about. They're just the exceptional ones I don't think that he can necessarily beat, but they could be money fights, and so he should do them. You know what I mean? So Lomachenko, man, like I said before, don't count the guy out. You know what I mean? Shout out to each and every one of you guys again on this channel. I'm about to bounce though. I gotta go to work, so I'm gonna catch you guys later. I'm what you need. Keep on educating yourself on the sport of boxing. You win some, you lose some. You predict correctly sometimes, you don't correctly sometimes. But one of the things I would say is, once you got a good solid reason and you can debate and argue with people on your reasoning of why you think one fighter will win from another fighter will win, that's what all counts. We want boxing fans that are knowledgeable boxing fans, but like any other fan out there, if you're dealing with any other sport, they're knowledgeable on the sport, right? They got stats and shit like that, right? Well, similarly, as boxing fans, we should be knowledgeable a bit, just a little bit on the sport. Don't just treat it like it's some archaic something, or we're just going with a narrative about certain people. We should be able to figure it out for ourselves and make other people excited about the sport, but be honest about it. If we have to correct somebody on the sport and say, hey, man, what are you talking about, dude? Correct them on it. Be real with each other. Don't do things for agendas. Like a lot of people out here, they do things for likes, or they do things for people to come to them. No, we must be real. We must tell them the truth. I shout out to, by the way, my boy who lost big time, Showbiz the Adult. He lost some serious money on Lomachenko. But hey, KP from KC, Lopez impressed me. I thought Loma had too much. Yes, sir. Well, hey, it happens, man. I can understand why you were coming from that perspective. So I understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? Anytime you want to jump on here, you can jump on here, man. It's for the fans. For the fans, we try to do this. Our channel is basically trying to help you guys help other people who don't know the sport understand it and come to love it. Mike Alvarado TBE. Lopez is good, but not as good as the elite caliber like Mike Alvarado yet. Trolling major time. ah, KP from KC5 says the fight was not about size. It was Lopez having good skills. He passed his exam last night. Hey, yo. He and his father knew how to take those angles away, man. Where was all that? Where was all Lomachenko's angles, KP from KC? Where was all his angles? Let me ask anybody. Where was all his angles? He had to come straight down the center, right? He took away the angles. You see? Lopez, Can, Haney, and Davis at 135 will be fireworks, and neither are defensively responsible as Loma. You might be surprised. Haney is defensively responsible. It's hard to touch Haney, so because he uses his jab and he fights from range. So that would be tough for Lopez. And he knows that. They new breed, man. They that's what I try to explain to you guys. This is totally different. Lopez done something phenomenal. He just opened up a whole new era of boxing. He just opened up a whole new era. He just changed it. Y'all want to know who's the next after Mayweather? The next after Mayweather is Lopez and them. They're the next. It's not Charlo. It's not Canelo. It's not them crop. They had their time. They had their time, and they didn't optimize like they're supposed to. This new breed, if they face one another, they just open up a whole new era. And Lopez just cracked the door. He just knocked the door down. He just knocked the door down. So, because Top Rank always have really good fighters. So Loma, you know, pound for pound, what was he? Pound for pound number somewhere in the top 5, right? So Loma's somewhere in the top 5. So Lopez just beat Loma. Everybody thought Lopez, most people thought Lopez would lose. They thought Loma would get the edge. Loma would beat him because they thought Loma had more experience. But it was that, as I try to explain to people, Lopez didn't get the opportunities. You see, and some of these younger fighters, they don't get the opportunities that somebody who has 2 gold medals or 1 gold medal can. So, for example, Carissa Shields, they just started matching Carissa Shields hard. Carissa Shields wanted hard fights from the get-go because she had 2 gold medals, right? Guillermo Regendow, he got matched tough from the get-go because he had 2 gold medals. So when you have been an outstanding, like an extremely outstanding amateur, they can put you in with anybody because you basically show that you were outstanding already. So they match you as hard as you want to be matched. So that's where Lomachenko got that obvious advantage. He got to face who he wanted to, whereas Teofimo had to start from scratch, even though he was way ahead of those level of guys. And he showed it by how he dispatched them. He had to start from the bottom and work his way up. Right? And as I explained to you guys, I said it in a video before, Mayweather had to work his way up because he had a bronze medal in the Olympics. And Teo was robbed in the Olympics, in the Rio Olympics. Floyd was robbed in the Olympics. Roy was robbed in the Olympics. And we can go on and on with the guys who were robbed in the Olympics, right? They didn't get a fair decision. They didn't get a fair call. And what that does is it affects your paycheck. And it also affects your ability to call what competition you want to face. Because all those guys that I just mentioned, Roy, Floyd, as we saw with their careers, Roy, Floyd, who else didn't get gold that probably was robbed. But all those guys were exceptional pros, right? They dominated their eras. It was the same thing with Teo and Shakur and Devin and all these other guys. Especially when you don't go the amateur route, you go straight to the pros. You have to go from scratch, kind of like. So that's what you end up with. Now you hear Teo throwing all this shade on Devin Haney. He's overhyped. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, the thing is, he knows Devin Haney's a threat. Okay, his father even said in the post-fight press conference, eventually meeting up with Devin Haney and somewhere, So that Devin Haney's a threat. Anybody who's talking about Devin Haney and I'm talking Devin Haney, Devin Haney's a threat. Okay, Devin Haney is a problem for anybody. But having said that, what it shows me in terms of those guys is that All those guys that are coming up right now, they're the next. One of them is going to become the face of boxing. Who it's going to be, I don't know. I don't even know if all of them are going to win their fights. I don't know. When you talk about Tank or Garcia or Haney or Lopez or Shakur, I don't know which one of them. They're all outstanding Olympians or guys who had extensive amateur backgrounds. Tank has like 300 plus fights. You know, Ryan Garcia has 100 something fights. You know, and all of these guys that I'm mentioning either were Olympians or whatever they were. They're outstanding guys. These are the outstanding amateurs, and they've gone to the pros, and they, you know, almost every one of them is in position to have a title shot, or they are titleists already. Okay, Ryan's 2 steps away from having a title shot. Devin Haney's already a titleist, even though a secondary titleist, but he's a titleist. Tio's a titleist. Shakur's a titleist. In fact, Shakur is 2-time. Is he a 2-time titleist? No, I think he's just 1-time titleist. Or he's a 2-time. I can't remember. So you know, Haney's a titleist or a secondary titleist, like I said. So when you look at these guys, these young crop of fighters, they're already accomplishing some remarkable things in very few fights, right? So they're different. You can tell that this crop of fighters is different to the established crop of fighters that we've seen before. So that's why I wouldn't say that necessarily Tank or Devin Haney are less defensively responsible than Lomachenko is. What I say is Lomachenko's cardio is crazy. You know, not so much with Devin. Devin looks like he would hang with Gervonta Davis. His cardio is not the greatest. So that's the thing with Gervonta. That's why I want to see Gervonta versus Leo Santa Cruz, because Leo Santa Cruz will push the fight, try to push the pace at least. He'll try to push the pace with Gervonta. Could Gervonta control the pace, the tempo of the fight, and dominate? I don't know. We'll see. But Leo versus Gervonta is a good fight. It's a good fight because of that. You know, they want to get everything with Gervonta right, and Gervonta has to get his mind right, which is not just getting into shape every single fight and having a fat boy fight, fat camp, but actually staying in shape all year round. You know, that's where Leo has an advantage over Gervonta, and that's what we got to see. We got to see if Gervonta not only can make weight, but can he maintain a certain pace, a certain work rate throughout the fight with Leo Santa Cruz, which could go 12. You know, it could go 12. You know, I'm hearing some people say Gervonta might get him out at 6. I don't think that's a good thing to bank on. I think I thought Teo was going to get Lomachenko out of there in 5, and that didn't happen. So again, you guys can jump on. I've stayed way longer than I said I was going to stay. If you guys want to jump on, otherwise I'm going to shut it down right here. So you guys have a good day. I'm going to catch you guys later on what you need. I'm out of the building. Peace.